screens right now. And on the show, we are being joined by Vikas Jain, Head of Research at Reliance Securities on the technicals. So he will be answering all your technical related queries. Welcome to the show, Vikas.
Good evening. Thanks for inviting the show.
Yes, and we'll be joined by our fundamental guest shortly. So first, let's go across to the first query on the show. So Jay has written to us on WhatsApp saying that he's bought 50 shares of BPCL at 303 a piece. He's looking for a long-term view, although on this particular company. But if we talk about BPCL, so it was down over 2% today, and it's currently trading at 251.70. And also, Vikas, major oil stock prices, including the BPCL, have declined, after the Trump's tariff. So what do you have to say, about this particular company?
So if you look at the BPCL, the stock almost topped out in the month of June and July when the whole PSU basket dropped out in post-elections. And since then, we had a vertical fall. So now the stock is almost near to its 100-week average support area of 250 to 40 odd. So the dividend deal is also been pretty good at the current levels. So we should continue to hold on. The stock is in the process of bottoming up formation near to this 253 to 245 odd levels. It witnessed some amount of bounce back, but again fizzled out in today's trade. Crude prices would continue to remain under tap because the production is expected to increase. So if crude prices continues to remain under pressure, BPCL would see some amount of outperformance being a oil marketing company as well as refining company. So instead add at current level, so it can continue to hold what is been holding through.
Right, so that's a hold on BPCL is what Vikas is suggesting. With that, we have another WhatsApp query. Vijay Mahajan is writing to us from Delhi saying that he's holding 320 shares of SBI Bank at 842 a piece. So should he hold for another 12 to 18 months? He's asking for the outlook on the particular stock. Or should I hold or average out? And as I can see that he's sitting on a loss of almost 39,000 there. So today's SBI share price also dropped by over 1%, reaching 721. So Vikas, what do you have to, say on this company as well?
If you look at the last quarter numbers, when the results came in, the stock bent some amount of positive pullback, but it failed to sustain. And now on the stock is at good support. So the PSU banking sector has been witnessing some amount of positive pullback from the lower side. So if you look at in this whole space of correction of 1.5 months, State Bank has not declined so much. So in fact, it has outperformed. No doubt the correction came in fast in the month of November, December itself in the PSU banks. So the stock is posing some amount of support near to its 200-week support area. I believe there's the view investor has an horizon of more than 18 to 24 months as what he suggested. He can continue to hold on, even he can add at current levels. This would be one of the preferred picks in the PSU banking space. So he can add for a higher up move of near to 810 over the next 3 to 6 months and potentially 850 over the next 18 months.
All right. Thanks for that view. With that, we have a query from Dikshit. He's writing to us. I'm sorry. There's a caller from Chennai. Hi, Munir. Good evening.
Hi, madam. Good evening, madam.
Yes. How can I help you, Munir?
Yes, I'm having Mahindra and Mahindra share at the price of 3,050 shares.
Okay.
I want to know the short-term outlook of the share.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when did you buy it exactly?
I think before a month, I think so.
Okay, because in just a month, you're sitting on a loss of over 16,000 is what I can see. So, Vikas, without wasting much time, how are how is M&M faring on the charts? Is it advisable for Munir to stay invested in it for another, let's say, 3 to 6 months?
So the view is of 3 to 6 months, it would remain invested because if you look at the stock was a major outperformer in the whole auto space. In fact, in this week itself, it has one of the largest corrections witnessed in the last 5 years. So the stock had witnessed good amount of bookings last week with announced with its electric vehicle. But with respect to announcements related to Trump tariff and auto EV policy, the stock has been witnessed, but the healthy correction is same in. It is near to witness a 200-day average breakdown. But we believe the stock would again recoup its losses as been a consistent wealth creator. So the view is of 3 to 6 months, it can continue to hold.
Okay, so continue to hold on M&M for 3 to 6 months is what Vikas is suggesting. We have a caller from Bengaluru. Hi, Chandra. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for taking my call.
It's our pleasure. Please, how can we help you?
Yeah, I'm holding Apollo Microsystem.
Okay.
Quantity of 200
Yeah.
and the holding price is 111.
Okay.
The stock has beaten down around 40%.
Yes.
From past 1 week, there's much volatility in the stock. It rose 11% 4 days ago, and
Yes.
today it's down 2.5%.
Right.
So I just want to know can I add it more? I mean, average it more now, or just sit on? I mean, just hold it, or should I sell and go into another stock because it's a small cap?
Yeah. And are you planning to invest it in this particular company for long term or short term?
Yeah, it's for long term, more than
It's for
two
long
to 3
term.
years more. Yeah.
All right. So Vikas, if I can see the charts, so this particular stock actually dipped a lot, during the last month of December, and then it kind of recovered, but then again it's declining. So what do you have to say, like Apollo Micro for long term, although he's asking for a long term, but still if you could just tell me about the picture that you can see on the charts.
So the picture looks pretty bleak. I would advise to exit as the stock is almost near to its purchase price or is making some 1 or 2% from current levels. Because if you look at the company is not so in great shape, the valuations are also on the higher side, and the stock has faced some amount of the lower circuits in the last say 6 months to 9 months before when the stock had a continuous fall. So it has witnessed some amount of recoup losses from the lower part of the range. But we believe it's better to exit as the small caps would take some more time to move upwards. So it's better to exit at current levels.
Okay, so that's a sell. And do you have any other suggestions in this particular space?
In this particular space, if you look at the defense space, Apollo Microsystems, apart from Apollo Micro, data patterns look attractive. The stock witnessed some amount of momentum last week during the start of the week from 1360, 1380 levels. And we believe the stock will move further higher near to those 1800 odd levels over the next 3 to 6 months. So data pattern looks attractive.
So data patterns look attractive is what Vikas is saying. With that, we have a call. We have a query, a WhatsApp query from Dikshit. He's writing to us from Bengaluru saying that he wants to buy Sandur Manganese for short term. So is it the right time to buy? And I can see that it's currently trading at 422. If I can see the charts also, it's very volatile. So do you still suggest, buying Sandur Manganese at these levels?
If he wants to invest for the short term, I believe he should wait for some amount of correction because we have witnessed a good amount of up move from the lower part of the range of 360 or to 420, 430 odd levels. And if you look at the whole metal space, have witnessed good buying interest over the last 1 week. So, and the stock is at the higher end of the range near to its 100-day average. So some resistance and pullback would be expected near to 405, 410, which should be an ideal point. So we should wait for some corrective action of 4 to 5%.
Okay. So thanks for that view. With that, we have a caller from Hyderabad. Hi, Prabhakar. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, how can we help you, Prabhakar?
Actually, in the recent call, I purchased Engineers India at
Okay.
a price of 151
Right.
of 7,500 shares. So I thought of holding it for 6 to 8 months. So what is the view on that?
Okay, and I can see that, the stock actually peaked in the month of July, and since then it has seen a very sharp decline. Vikas, how is it faring on the charts?
On the charts, it has made some structural support area near to 135, 140 odd levels and witnessed good amount of up move. It is at near to the minor resistance of those 171, 172 odd levels. So we believe if that is being crossed, a strong up move would be expected near to 185, 190 odd. So we can continue to hold on to the stock. We believe the stock has the potential to move higher near to 185 to 190 over the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay. And now we have a query, a WhatsApp query. Vishnu has written to us saying that he's bought 100 shares of Hariom Pipes at 550 a piece. He's looking for a 6-month view on it. So do you have any suggestions on this particular company?
Believe and should avoid the stock at current levels because if you look at the structure and the momentum has been fading out into the whole sector. In terms of specific Hariom pipe, the stock made a top near to those 830, 850 levels and now almost down by 50% near to 380, but the structure remains weak. We believe the stock would further decline, so it's better to avoid.
Better to avoid Hariom Pipes is what Vikas is suggesting. We have a caller from Coimbatore. Hi Keshav, good evening. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, please go ahead with your query.
Yeah, this is regarding IndusInd Bank.
Okay.
And right now I'm in profit. But the point is, can I hold it for next 1 year or can I sell? Can I book the profit?
Okay, and why did you go for IndusInd Bank in the very first place?
Yes, actually, I was going through some information, news in the IndusInd Bank. The first point is, when I was purchasing products, earlier I did not see this IndusInd offers or something like that. And later I was started seeing this IndusInd offers everywhere, wherever you purchase tickets or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, then I started reading about this stock.
Yeah.
Then I found it. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought, okay, this will be.
It's always good when, investors are reading about their investments and knowing, why they are investing in their particular stock. So Vikas, coming to you, IndusInd Bank, although he's looking for a long-term view on it, but still in the banking space, what do you have to say about this particular company and other banks as well?
From this perspective, IndusInd Bank looks attractive because if you look at the stock had a vertical fall from the highs of 1700, 1800. It has made a bullish engulfing pattern on the monthly charts in the last month and has witnessed huge amount of strong outperformance in the current month. So with respect to the broader market corrective action, the stock is performing, which is a very good sign on a relative strength basis. It is facing near to those 100-day average, so we believe the stock would move higher. Once it breaks out above 1080 or the sharp momentum can be expected near to 1200. So we can continue to hold on with a target of 1200 to 1220 over the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay. So that's a view coming in on IndusInd Bank. With that, we have a caller from Rajasthan now. Hi, Jalaj.
Yeah, hi.
Good evening. Yes, how can we help you?
I'm holding a Ratan India Power Limited.
Okay.
And I just need to know about for a long-term investment.
Okay.
Because I have a 6,300 shares.
All right. And you bought it at what price?
I bought it 17 rupees.
17 rupees.
Yes, 17.88.
Okay, so firstly, I'd like to congratulate on spotting the correct levels because currently the stock is trading at 46. So you've clearly made some handsome, profit there. So our fundamental guest will be joining us shortly, but I'll get you a technical view on this particular company. Vikas, Ratan India, what do you have to say about this particular company?
It's Ratan India or Ratan India Power? I think the guest is saying Ratan India Power.
Ratan India Power, yes.
Yes, Ratan India Power is sub near to 9.5, 10 rupees, I recollect. So what is being witnessed on the charts. So the stock has not any great momentum. No doubt it gained some amount of momentum, but we believe the stock would face some more pressure. It's better to avoid and exit the stock because the small caps part of the market will take a lot of time to move. And the stock has witnessed a strong move only late in the month of November, December when the markets peaked out. So it's better to exit.
Okay, it's better to exit, but I still have a doubt if it was Ratan India Power or Enterprise. Jalaj, are you still on the phone line?
Yes.
Is it Ratan India Power?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So your query has been answered there by Vikas. Now with that, let's go across to one more query. Sumit has written to us from Kapurthala saying that he's holding HAL, 20 shares of HAL at a price of 3,427. So he also is looking for a long-term view and also a short-term view on it. So Vikas, HAL, how is it faring on the charts?
The chart looks interesting poised as we discussed that the whole PSU basket got peaked out in the month of July. So 8 months of corrective action has been put into place. Now the stock is at critical support area and witnessing some amount of bounce back. So risk reward ratio remains favorable. He can add at current levels for a first immediate target of around 3800, 3830. If that is being crossed, then we could witness further momentum up.
Okay, and with that, Lancelot has also joined us. Viewers, Lancelot Dicuna, CIO, ValueX Wealth Connect LLP is joining us on this show, and he will be answering all your fundamental queries. Lancelot, we've been waiting for you for some time. There have been a lot of fundamental queries on the show. So, firstly, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, and we were discussing about HAL. Vikas was telling us about the technical aspect of it, but what do you have to say on the fundamentals of the company?
I think, there are a couple of exciting developments as far as HAL is concerned. There is likelihood to be, additional helicopter deal that may come in, and the aircraft, the aircraft order which they are like to get will also come in. But when you look at the fundamentals of the valuations are extremely high at this point in time, and they had gone up even higher in with this whole PSU rally and the focus on the defense. And so, from whenever you purchase or invest something at a high value, there's always a possibility that any negative surprise could result in re-rating, and then you could see the stock, maybe 20 or 30% lower. So given that background, I think, the valuations are still expensive. So one should probably stay away for the time being if you're not holding it as yet, and wait for, maybe 10-15% lower valuation. And that might happen over the next 2-3 quarters. So as you see, the company's earnings remain stable, then probably one could look at, buying into the stock at that point in time. So at this point of time, it's still a wait and watch.
Okay, so that's a wait and watch on HAL for long term is what Lancelot is suggesting. With that, we have a caller from Mysuru. Hi, Chandru.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. How can we help you?
Ma'am, Motilal Oswal 900 quantity, average price 650, 1 month back by ma'am, 1 month consolidation, ma'am, short term, ma'am, 9 months, ma'am.
Okay, and when did you buy it exactly, Chandru?
Madam, 900 quantity, average price.
No, but when did you buy it? When did you purchase Motilal Oswal stocks?
650.
Okay. So, since he's looking for a short-term Vikas, how is Motilal Oswal faring on the chart? It's currently trading at 613. So, is it advisable for Chandru to stay invested in it?
And continue to remain invested because it has made some amount of bottom up formation near to those 530, 550 odd levels and witness some amount of rebound. It is at critical resistance area. Once that has been taken out, we can believe the stock can further move near to 670, 680. So we can continue to remain invested. Some amount of broking and capital market related stocks have witnessed action, positive momentum from the lower range. So Motilal Oswal would also move up higher near to 680 to the first target.
Okay, so thanks for that view. With that, we have a caller from Chennai. Hi, Sanjeev. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. I'm holding Vedanta. I would like to know the short-term view. So technically, how it is looking. I'm holding 300 shares.
Okay, and when did you buy it?
It is a couple of months back.
A couple of months back. Okay, currently it's trading at 438 and the stock was up, over 1% today, and you are sitting on a profit since it's a very short time, but you are sitting on a profit of 5,000 there is what I can see. So, Vikas, since again he's asking for a short-term view, what do you have to say on Vedanta?
So the metal space is looking attractive as we discussed and is seeing some amount of outperformance. In terms of specific Vedanta, it has made a bottom-up formation near to 410, 420 and witnessed some amount of up move. The company has also approved a demerger plan into various 4 to 5 businesses. So that demerger action would also see some amount of pullback on a higher side to 465 to 470, which would be the probable 200-day average target. So 465 to 470, he should put some amount of profit. He can continue to hold.
Right. And if we talk about the latest news, that's coming in from Vedanta is that it has declared as preferred bidder for Godavari diamond block in Madhya Pradesh. So, a lot of orders and bidders news is being surrounded with this particular company. So, Lancelot, do you see it impacting, the fundamental performance also for the long term?
No, I think the fundamental performance is going to get impacted over the long term. There's also some news that, they may look at, trying to demerge part of their businesses and unlock some value. But, these are things which you can't really ascertain whether they are adding value and to what extent they'll add value to the stock today, because they are mostly proposals. The details haven't been, are not available. So it's very difficult to put them into valuation. So I would, take that as yes, there is a long-term growth outlook, but based on the current valuation, one should actually wait for a while before adding more stocks at this point in time.
All right, all right. So there's a caution attached to the company because we cannot gauge as to how this will impact the particular company in the future. With that, we have a caller from Andhra Pradesh. Prasad is calling in. Hi, Prasad. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, good evening, madam. First of all, this is a very excellent initiative from NDTV. We are very thankful to you all.
It's our pleasure, Prasad, that we are able to, help you and your queries.
Yeah.
And yes, please go ahead with your query.
Yeah, I'm holding Poonawalla Fincorp, 1,200 shares. Average price is 399.
Okay.
Bought 6 months back.
Okay.
I can hold for 1 year.
Okay.
Whether to hold, exit, average, I need a fundamental and technical view on this.
All right. As I can see the charts, so it saw very sharp decline in the month of in the last week of October, but then it kind of recovered, and now it's still in the decline zone only. So coming to you, Lancelot, do you also hold the same view about Poonawalla Fincorp?
So I would think that, the company is actually trying to make a mark in the financial services business. And, they have done some acquisitions which will add to their overall portfolio. Plus, they are promoted by a very strong, promoter. So in that sense, adds a lot of comfort to the, to the company's growth potential, and that you have a promoter who is willing to stand behind the company and back it. So given those background, the company, still is slightly highly valued. I think, it should trade at maybe a little lower multiple. And maybe if the stock corrects between, another 4-5%, you should be able to then start looking at adding it slowly into the portfolio.
All right. And Vikas, you also hold the same view for short term?
In the short-term basis, the stock witnessed some amount of price and volume action both. So multiple block deals was been witnessed in the first week of February, but since then the stock has not gained some amount of prominence. So we believe, as I agree with Lancelot, any decline here to 4 to 5% again back to the previous lows of 265 to 70 odd should be a good ideal opportunity to add into the name.
Okay. With that, we have a query from Puducherry. John has written to us saying that he's 7 shares of Adani Green Energy, average price at 1,075. So should he add more shares at the current price, or should he hold it for another 1 to 2 years? Lancelot, if you can take that away.
Yeah, so Adani Green, has been, it's in a very sunrise industry and has been growing at a good pace. They've been acquiring, several distribution companies as far as, the green energy is concerned. But when you look at, the future for this industry and the profitability from players in the space, I think there's a lot of, let's say, over excitement over the progress in the company, and that definitely puts a damper on the valuations. So I would think that, it's better to wait for a while, at least for 6 months to a year, see how the profitability plays out. And if there is improved profitability, then one can look at trying to justify valuations. Otherwise, at this point in time, the earnings and the earnings growth is not yet enough to justify the high valuation the company is trading at.
Understood. And just a disclaimer for our viewers, NDTV Profit is a subsidiary of AMG Media Networks and Adani Group Company. And with that, we'll have to slip into a short break. Keep sending in your queries, viewers, on WhatsApp and call in. We'll be right back for Ask Profit. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit.
very, very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breathing also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure, from where I sit, I see that private capital expenditure is happening.
Any tariff coming on Indian goods will be passed on to American consumers and Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Re-Viksit Bharat.
भाषण सुना उसके बाद मेरा पहला एक्रोनिम निकाला मैंने, वो था RRR, रिस्पॉन्सिव, रिस्पॉन्सिबल, रिफॉर्मिस्ट, और मैंने कहा रिवॉल्यूशनरी। हाउ डिड यू अराइव एट दिस नंबर ऑफ 12 लाख रुपीस?
हमें लगता है टैक्स पेयर उस लेवल नंबर से टैक्स भर रहा है, क्या उनको हम कुछ कर सकते हैं?
प्राइवेट सेक्टर कैपेक्स अभी तक वो इन्वेस्ट क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं, जबकि आपका इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ही बताता है कि वो कैश पाइल पे बैठे हुए हैं।
अगर कंजम्पशन बढ़ता और उसके तहत लगता है कि ग्रेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट का पॉसिबिलिटी है, वो भी अच्छा ट्रिगर हो सकता है।
एआई बहुत तेज़ी से आ रहा है, तो जॉब के चैलेंजेस होंगे, स्किल के चैलेंज पहले से हैं, तो जो ट्रांजिशन पीरियड का स्ट्रगल है, नौकरी मुझे अभी चाहिए।
पूरे साल का एक्सपोजर दिलाने के लिए हम इंटर्नशिप प्रोग्राम ले आए और इसके साथ साथ इस बजट में भी ट्रेनिंग फॉर एआई, इसके लिए सेंटर्स बनाए हैं।
This entire special package and measures are kind of focused on AI skilling and how to sort of facilitate the AI centers which is existing at this point of time.
Now a center of excellence in artificial intelligence for education will be set up with a total outlay of 500 crores.
Do you really know the company you invested? What's the picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know your company, powered by NDTV Profits Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers. Know your company at 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, only on NDTV Profit.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Do you really know the company you invested? What's the picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know your company, powered by NDTV Profits Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers. Know your company at 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, only on NDTV Profit.
Headlines you start your
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit, and I'm your host Himakshi Bahugna. And on the show, we are joined by Lancelot Dicuna on the fundamentals and Vikas Jain on the technicals, and they will be solving all your fundamental and technical queries. And you can WhatsApp us, you can call us directly. Both the numbers are flashing on your screens right now. With that, we have a caller from Tirupati. Hi, Venkat. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, how can we help you, Venkat?
Yeah, ma'am, I have selected two stocks.
Okay.
To invest for 1 year.
Okay.
So one is Tata Power and another one is Godavari Power. So which is
Tata Power and Adani Power?
No, Godavari Power.
Godavari Power, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Between these, I have to select one. Which would you prefer?
All right. And why these two?
Yeah, both are in this one. Tata Power is in power sector.
Yeah.
And recently, Godavari Power also, it is having a lot of order book.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm...
All right. As I can see that Tata Power, if we talk about the last 1 month picture, so it has been down over 2%. But are you planning to hold these stocks for long term?
Yeah, 1 year.
1 year, okay. So Lancelot, coming straight to you, what do you have? What's your pick between Tata Power or Godavari Power for another 1 year?
Right. I think one should definitely go for Tata Power, because you see Tata Power has almost 20-25% capacity in renewable energy space. And ultimately, going forward, renewable energy is going to be a big portion of their business. And globally, the entire power generation is switching to renewable energy because it's more cleaner and cleaner fuel. Second is the size of Tata Power is, they are a significant player in the market, and they also have a very lucrative distribution business because they also distribute business at the retail segment. And they are in the process of adding a lot more, value-added products in terms of especially charging for EVs. So they are in Bombay and in various metros putting up about 50,000 charging stations. Which will give them a significant amount of higher value for the power that is being sold. So I think given that their direction and reach is much, much greater than what we have in Godavari Power, and valuations also reasonable at this point of time, the stock is trading about 30 times earnings. And even on an EV to EBITDA basis, it's about 12 times EV to EBITDA. So it is still reasonably priced, and one can look at investing because the downside is very limited. And so from a risk reward ratio perspective, Tata Power definitely looks as a better opportunity than Godavari Power.
Okay, so Lancelot is suggesting Tata Power over Godavari Power. With that, we have a caller from Chennai. Hi, Ram Kumar. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, hi. Hi, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Please go ahead with your query.
Yeah, so I bought 30 shares of Dr. Reddy on average price of 1,225.
Okay.
So currently, Dr. Reddy is falling down in the market. It is right time I can accumulate more shares, or I can hold it for some time. As well as Natco also falling very drastically now.
Yes.
So which should I consider?
So are you planning to hold it for long term?
Yeah, 4-5 years long term.
4-5 years, okay. So Lancelot, is Dr. Reddy's picture positive, for the 4-5 years, down the line, and also are these the correct levels to accumulate more?
So I think, while Dr. Reddy could have some impact, on account of this on its business due to the proposed sanctions on pharma products in the US, because they do have a fairly large footprint in terms of exports to the US. But I think that over a period of time will get managed and absorbed, because medicines and pharmaceuticals are actually important, and in order to bring down the US medical expenses for their entire sector, they would need to look at lowering costs and not increasing cost. So given that background, I think one should, use this opportunity. Even from a valuation perspective, Dr. Reddy is fairly reasonably valued at this point in time and trades at a reasonable multiple. So you can start to accumulate or even add to this counter. and then maybe hold it. If you're prepared to hold it for 3 to 5 years, one should see good returns from this stock.
And Vikas, considering its quarter 3 results, they were very good. So, how is it, faring on the charts, and what's the short-term picture looking like?
So the charts itself is showing some amount of weakness in terms of Dr. Reddy's, because if you look at the stock went for a stock split. Since then, the liquidity also has been increased into the stock, which is also again putting some amount of pressure. And the way pharma sector has reacted negatively during this week, we believe some more meaningful news could be expected. So the stock could further see some amount of 4 to 5% correction. So 1080 to 1090 should be a good price to accumulate at what the investor wants to accumulate.
Right. Thanks for that view. With that, we have a query, a WhatsApp query. Rajagopalan from Chennai has written to us saying that he's intending to buy either Nitin Spinners or FDC for long term. So, Lancelot, Nitin Spinners was, down 1.5% today and is currently trading at 323. And if we talk about FDC, so it's currently trading at 403. So what's your pick between the two, and how are the fundamentals of these particular companies looking like? Are they promising?
Unfortunately, I don't track either Nitin Spinners or FTC. So I really can't tell him which is the better of the two. So I'm unfortunately to pass at this point in time.
If you could just help us with that.
Sure. So if you look at, both are from the extreme industries. Nitin Spinners is from the spinning and the textile side. FDC is from the pharma space. So as we not invested into the space, we believe pharma space, it would invest into pharma space, but it should wait for some 4 to 5% correction, because the stock has witnessed some good corrective action over the last 1.5 months. But on the broader monthly charts, the stock has good support near to 385 to 380 odd levels. So 380, 385, 5% you should invest into the name.
All right. Thanks for that view. With that, let's quickly go across to a caller from Coimbatore. Hi, Jenny. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Yes. How can we help you, Jenny?
Hi. I have 500 shares of ITC at the rate of 428 rupees.
Okay.
And it's almost 7% loss in my portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So my query is, I'm not ready to invest again and doing the average calculations. I'm not going to do that one.
Yeah.
So what is my my question is very simple. Will it holding this ITC stock for a long time is workable? And what will be the any idea about the target price after 2 to 3 years or maximum 5 years of the shares?
Okay, and you're planning to hold this stock for 2-3 years?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So Lancelot, since ITC has lost around 1.03 lakh crore in the market cap so far in 2025, so do you still see that, it's positive? Are you positive on this particular company for another 2-3 years?
See, I think one has to, see what the issue is. At the moment, the recent fall that we saw in ITC was mainly driven by, some concerns that the government is likely to increase certain duties and maybe increase the GST on ITC. But however, they did mention that they would keep the overall tax rates similar, so that, the cost really doesn't change. So if that is the case, then the current growth in the cigarette business should continue, because there's no real additional tax that is being levied on ITC. Second bit was that its FMCG business had slowed down, but that was in line with most of the other companies which are in the FMCG business, which also had seen a slowdown during this last 2 quarters. However, now with the economy expected to improve and especially urban consumption improving, I think you should see ITC's business improving further. And we did see a spin-off of ITC Hotels, which is one of the reasons why the market cap has dropped, because the hotel business has got delinked and it's trading at about 80,000, around 35-40,000 crores. So that actually gives some amount of support, saying that this amount has got delinked, and there could be further triggers in terms of demerging of maybe the paperboards bit division, the packaging business. So I think if one is a long-term investor willing to hold ITC for the next 2 to 3 years, one should be patient and hold this, and you will get better returns, especially from these levels.
Okay, so that thanks for that view, Lancelot. With that, let's go across to one more caller from Chennai. Hi, Mayappam.
Yes.
Yes, Mayappam is a regular caller.
Yeah.
Yes, so
I
please
want to know
go ahead with
about
your
Natco
query.
Pharma. Can I
Natco
buy
Pharma.
now or I have to wait around 700 to 750?
Okay, because currently it's trading at 798 is what I can see. And but Natco Pharma, if we talk about the last 5 days picture, the stock was down over 10%, almost 10% there. So are you looking for a short-term view?
No, around 6 months to 1 year.
6 to 1 year. Okay. Still, I'd like to take both technical and fundamental view on it. Firstly, I'd like to come to you, Vikas. How is it faring on the charts, considering the current scenario in the pharma sector? You know, it's taken a beating after the Trump tariffs, or many reasons are there. So, still, what do you have to say on this particular company?
So for specific Natco Pharma, apart from the tariff, the announcement with respect to its results was also been pretty weak, and the stock had a vertical fall. Since then, the stock is in a continuous pressure. So maybe a price-wise correction could be over, but the time-wise correction is still left, and we believe the stock would not have any major positive news flow. So one should wait for one more quarter for the quarterly results to come in through, and because the stock might not see some amount of strong up move unless until some more positive quarter announcement has been put through. And the sector is also under pressure. So we believe the investor should wait for some more time if he has not bought into the name.
So the investor should wait for some time if he hasn't bought. But still, Lancelot, are you positive for the long-term picture of Natco Pharma?
Well, Natco is basically, involved in manufacturing, selling of bulk drugs, and also some agrochemicals. So I think this is a very difficult space, especially given the competitive intensity that we are seeing both from Chinese companies providing these bulk drugs at much lower prices. And I don't think that the intensity is going to ease up in the near future. It's probably going to get more difficult. So at this point in time, I think one should probably stay away from the company, because from a long-term perspective, it does not have any significant moat or any significant advantage in terms of competition, especially given that you are seeing global competition from overseas, and that's going to play heavily on the performance going forward.
Okay. Thanks for that view, Lancelot. We have a caller from Hyderabad now. Vijay is calling in. Hi, Vijay.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening. How can we help you?
Madam, I am very thankful to you to literate financially the village people. I am very much thankful you having a very good session.
I'm very glad,
clearing
Vijay.
our doubts and our queries on a good atmosphere.
Yes. Vijay, if you could just tell us what's your query?
Madam, I want to ask one question, madam.
Mm-hmm.
I want to buy the Divi's put at the rate of 5,700.
Divi's Laboratories?
Divi's Laboratories.
Yeah.
5,700 put next month.
Okay.
I want to buy that put. Shall I buy the put or not? Please clarify, madam.
Okay.
Madam. Due to the reciprocal.
Yes, and how many shares have you bought?
I bought 1,000 shares at rate of 4,180.
Okay.
I want to, today I was exit, but I want to buy put also.
All right. So are you looking, I think you're looking for a short-term view on it.
Yes, madam. Short-term, downtrend I want. The technical opinion I want.
Yes. Vikas, if you could take that away, because currently it's trading at 5,702 and was down over 4% today. So what do you have to say on this particular company?
So no doubt the stock is facing pressure. It has witnessed multiple tops near to those 6,050 to 6,100 levels and retracing back. The stock is believed that further may witness a decline of 53.30, 53.50 odd levels. But the investor wishes to buy some put options, so it's always better to trade in spreads instead of buying naked puts. So that would be the strategy, because the naked puts has a lot of theta value which that erodes, and even if the investor view goes right, after 10 days, 15 days, he would not make money. So it's better to do some spread strategies by trading into puts rather than buying naked put.
Right. Thanks for that view. With that, let's go across to a caller from Bengaluru. Hi, Kamath. Good evening.
Madam, good evening. I have 2000 Meghmani Organics at the rate of 95, madam.
Okay.
I wanted a short-term and long-term view.
And when did you buy it exactly?
I bought it sometime, I think, somewhere in January, madam.
Okay, somewhere in January, because if I can see the charts, it actually peaked during the month of October, but since then it has seen a very sharp decline. So, Lancelot, do you have any view on Meghmani Organics?
Yes, I think Meghmani is one of the players in the specialty chemical space, and they have been putting up additional capacity in order to take advantage of this the China plus one move for many companies. But this chemical space is a little long drawn process, and one has to match the quality as well as price requirements. And over the last 6 months, we've seen a lot of oversupply in the global markets being adjusted in terms of inventories being sold at lower prices, and that has hurt the market prices of various fine chemicals and specialty chemicals. So Meghmani also is subjected to that kind of pressure. And going forward, it doesn't look like, at least for the next 2 quarters, the pressure is likely to ease up. It might get accelerated a bit more. So given that background, I think it's better to avoid some of these smaller companies, because while they may appear to be attractive on a relative basis, that they've fallen so much, in terms of competitive edge, it will take the bigger companies are far better to poised to survive a downturn in the industry. And hence one should probably stay away and look at maybe larger specialty chemical companies who can withstand a downturn in the prices of this industry.
Right. And do you have any suggestions there?
So, one can look at SRF, which has come out with better results. They have shown, improvement. Then there is Sumitomo Chemicals, which is focusing on import substitutes. So to that extent, these companies have more secure, prices for their fine chemicals, and they also will ensure that will also ensure that profitability grows despite what's happening in the general market scenario.
All right. With that, we have a caller from Jaipur. Hi, Ali. Good evening.
Very good evening, ma'am.
Yes. How can we help you, Ali?
Ma'am, I have 10 shares of Adani Enterprises at an average price of 2823.
Okay.
So is it a good time to average or to sell it or hold it?
Okay. And are you a long-term investor or a short-term?
Long-term investor, ma'am.
Okay. A lot of long-term queries on the show today. Currently, Adani Prices is trading at 2133. So how are the fundamentals of the company looking like, Lancelot?
So the long-term business outlook definitely looks very encouraging. Most of the orders have come in, which is good for them. They've also been able to reduce a lot of the debt that was there in their balance sheet. So it's becoming much stronger in terms of balance sheet being significantly strengthened, and cash flows are also improving. So the earlier concern that the company is highly leveraged is easing up, but even from a valuation perspective, it's still relatively expensive, and probably one should wait for a while in order to buy the stock, because whenever you buy something at a high value, while the business outlook may be good, it takes a long time for you to recover and generate earnings on that particular price, because any negative correction can see immediately a re-rating of the stock, and that could drive the values back much lower.
Absolutely. And just a disclaimer again, NDTV Profit is a subsidiary of AMG Media Networks and Adani Group company. With that, we have a caller from Ajmer. Hi, Anand. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, how can we help you, Anand?
Actually, ma'am, I have Bharat Electronics share.
Okay.
My quantity is 116 and the average price is 168.
Yeah.
Now I want to accumulate more share of BEL. Is it right time to invest or add more shares of this stock?
Yeah, because I can see you are sitting on a profit of almost 10,500 there. So congratulations on that. But currently it's trading at 256. Are these the correct levels to accumulate more land slot for long term?
So I think if one looks at a long-term basis, while the stock is looking a little expensive because it's trading at about 37 times its trailing earnings, but margin improvement has been good in this current year, and you should see maybe return on equity is also improving. Plus, there are a good pipeline for large orders that will probably come up in the next year or two from the defense space. So given that drawback, I think one should look at accumulating this, but maybe use the declines to add to the this thing. And maybe at this point in time, one can add a smaller quantity. And if the market price is correct further, then one can add larger quantities at lower values. Because at this point in time, it definitely still is a little bit overvalued.
Okay, so BEL is currently overvalued. But you can accumulate slightly. But Vikas, do you also hold the same view for short term?
Yeah, if you look at this stock has witnessed good amount of bounce from these 250 to 60 levels twice. Now again it has come back to the lower part of the range, so some bounce back cannot be ruled out. And it has completed its correction from those highs of 330 or to 275. So 25-27% corrective action in a nifty large cap stock is a good attractive price to enter.
And with that, I'm afraid that we are short on time. But thank you so much, Vikas and Lancelot, for being there and answering our viewers' queries so patiently. Thank you so much. And viewers, with that, it's a wrap on Ask Profit. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit. There's more lined up ahead.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breathing also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure, from where I sit, I see that private capital expenditure is happening.
Any tariff coming on Indian goods will be passed on to American consumers and Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Re-Viksit Bharat.
भाषण सुना उसके बाद मेरा पहला एक्रोनिम निकाला मैंने, वो था RRR, रिस्पॉन्सिबल, रिफॉर्मिस्ट, और मैंने कहा रिवॉल्यूशनरी। हाउ डिड यू अराइव एट दिस नंबर ऑफ 12 लाख रुपीस?
हमें लगता है टैक्स पेयर उस लेवल नंबर से टैक्स भर रहा है, क्या उनको हम कुछ कर सकते हैं?
प्राइवेट सेक्टर कैपेक्स अभी तक वो इन्वेस्ट क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं, जबकि आपका इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ही बताता है कि वो कैश पाइल पे बैठे हुए हैं।
अगर कंजम्पशन बढ़ता और उसके तहत लगता है कि ग्रेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट का पॉसिबिलिटी है, वो भी अच्छा ट्रिगर हो सकता है।
एआई बहुत तेज़ी से आ रहा है, तो जॉब के चैलेंजेस होंगे, स्किल के चैलेंज पहले से हैं, तो जो ट्रांजिशन पीरियड का स्ट्रगल है, नौकरी मुझे अभी चाहिए।
पूरे साल का एक्सपोजर दिलाने के लिए हम इंटर्नशिप प्रोग्राम ले आए और इसके साथ साथ इस बजट में भी ट्रेनिंग फॉर एआई इसके लिए सेंटर्स बनाए हैं।
This entire special package and measures are kind of focused on AI skilling and how to sort of facilitate the AI centers which is existing at this point of time.
Now a center of excellence in artificial intelligence for education will be set up with a total outlay of 500 crores.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What's the picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know your company, powered by NDTV Profits Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers. Know your company at 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, only on NDTV Profit.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What's the picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know your company, powered by NDTV Profits Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers. Know your company at 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, only on NDTV Profit.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Sources telling us is that government is expected to provide a roadmap of the next phase of national monetization pipeline, where they are going to set a higher target for the next fiscal onwards.
Building on the success of the first asset monetization plan announced in 2021, the second plan for 2025 to 30 will be launched to plow back capital of 10 lakh crore in new projects.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What's the picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know your company, powered by NDTV Profits Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers. Know your company at 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, only on NDTV Profit.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
It's an NDTV Profit exclusive. The government plans to modify the EV policy before Tesla hits Indian roads. The new policy may mandate EV players to report 2,500 crore turnover in the second year itself. Auto stocks turn anxious as most components trade lower. A day after US President Donald Trump's recent allegation that American aid funds were being used to elect another leader in India, MEA says it's deeply concerning and that relevant departments and agencies are looking into the same. The Reserve Bank of India holds its Monetary Policy Committee meeting. The committee members suggest room for further rate cuts as economic growth and easing inflation remain key concerns. Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says the mother of all deals to be finalized with the United States says the bilateral deal will provide huge opportunities for Indians and Americans to complement each other's strengths in a turbulent world. Benchmark indices end in the red today, extending their losing streak to a third consecutive week. Mid-cap and small-cap snapped the two-day gaining streak, and the decline was driven by losses in financial and automobile stocks, while lingering concerns over US tariffs continue to dampen investor sentiment. In a significant step towards becoming the sports powerhouse, India will bid for Commonwealth Games 2030. The last date to bid for the hosting rights is March 31st. New Delhi and Ahmedabad are being considered to be the main options. Good evening, you're watching Profit 360. I'm Sanjana and it's our top story. Will India modify its new EV policy? That's what sources are actually telling NDTV Profit exclusively, that in a probable bid to attract the likes of Tesla, the tweaked EV policy may mandate car makers to now show a turnover of 2,500 crore rupees in the second year itself. Now, these changes are expected to significantly enhance India's attractiveness as a destination for EV manufacturing. And it's happening at a time when Tesla has set its sights on India, not just for retail, but to hire more talent. Joining me with more details on what the other modifications are is my colleague Shrimi, who first reported the story. Shrimi, over to you.
Yeah, so the new EV policy, which requires the fresh capital infusion of 4,150 crore to avail the concessional duty of 15% tariff against the 110% tariff at this point of time, could see some modification. Government is working on the final guidelines and could be notified next month, that is in March. Government sources tells us that, companies, EV makers may be mandated to have a revenue target of 2,500 crore by second year itself from the date of setting up the manufacturing unit. The draft policy, which was announced last year, already mandated 5,000 crore of revenue by fourth year and 7,500 crore of revenue by fifth year. So this is going to be the additional requirement. Other than that, there's some caveat is also be the part of the new EV policy, which include that no past investment will be considered under the new scheme. Land building cost would not be the part of fresh infusion, and you will see some changes in terms of EV infrastructure. So 5% of the total infusion could be considered, as a part of the total investment coming from the EV makers. So 2 to 3 EV makers already sort of showed interest in this scheme. However, there's no commitment so far came. So once the scheme will be notified, government will invite application, and 2 to 3 months of the timeline will go for the approval, and post that they will start importing under the scheme criteria. So this is coming at a time where, one of the key beneficiary, Tesla, of the scheme is, announcing its, entry in the Indian market. So this is going to be, beneficial for this, for them. And, we are also getting indication that government is wanting this team to be in place. And that's why we will see some progress next month itself.
Absolutely, all eyes on that, and you heard it first on NDTV Profit. My colleague Tushar now joining us live. Tushar, following our exclusive on the EV policy tweaks, all the auto stocks tanked today. Mahindra and Mahindra shares experienced a sharp decline today, and other players in the Indian auto sector also experienced notable declines in their stock prices. So to explain this further, I want to just bring in my colleague Tushar. Tushar, the drop represents the sharpest intraday fall in 7 months for Mahindra. This is coming on the heels of a 4,500 crore rupee investment that's been approved by 4 subsidiaries that are probably prompting fears about cash flow. But also, we can't ignore the backdrop of intensified competition in the EV market, particularly with the anticipated entry of Tesla. Is it adding to the investor anxiety?
Absolutely, Sanjana. So while the investment into the 4 subsidiaries was a downer, but we cannot forget that the entire Nifty auto pack was also down for the day. That means there's some impact. All the news around the tweaking of the EV policy is weighing on the auto stocks, and M&M is no different, because if Tesla enters at somewhere about 30 lakh rupees, Mahindra would be the first local car maker to get hit immediately. Maruti Hyundai still seem insulated at this point of time. The biggest point to consider at this point of time is the import duty revisions that may happen when this new EV policy or when these tweaks actually happen. So the EV policy envisages about 15% import duty on CK, that is completely knocked down units, which is when you import parts and then assemble them in India. But Tesla is not looking to come through that route. It's going to import fully built cars into India, and that attracts a tax of 110%. Any revision there will reduce the tax, reduce the prices of luxury electric cars in India. That will also benefit the likes of the Mercedes, BMW, Audi, even to the extent of Kia and Hyundai in India, which retail the EV6 and the Ioniq 5. So while it seems like any reduction will reduce the tax incentive on them, there can be a multiple impact on the other car makers as well. What we know so far is that Tesla would sit somewhere in the 60 to 70 lakh bracket with its Model Y that is going to come in first. That's what sources are telling us. That is squarely against the German car makers. A cheaper model is not planned as of now. Local manufacturing or assembly is not planned as of now. So for the time being, the likes of Tata Motors, Mahindra, Maruti Suzuki as well as Hyundai are relatively unaffected by the Tesla onslaught that may come when Elon Musk comes here.
So coming to that, Tushar, actually, if you could tell us a little bit more about Tesla's entry and the sentimental effect that it will have on listed EV players.
So for Mahindra, their top end model, because it's absolutely new company, new models that are coming in, the BE6 and the XEV 9E, those range all the way up to 30 lakhs. Maruti Suzuki is going to unveil its first electric car in the next 6 months or so. Hyundai has already brought in its cars. Tata Motors is the market leader with about 60% market share. So we see all the legacy auto players already having a mark in the business. But remember, you're dealing with something like Tesla, which has such a brand recall that all of these car companies can get affected. The most affected seems to be Mahindra and Mahindra because of the 30 lakh positioning that is there. But one must remember, it's very unlikely that Tesla will enter India at the 30 lakh level because the import duties are still to be revised lower. If that happens, then definitely there's a cause of worry for the likes of Tata Motors and Mahindra.
Tushar, thank you so much for putting that in perspective. I'm quickly going to also bring in Sunny Agarwal, who's joining us now, Head of Fundamental Equity Research at SBI Cap Securities, is on the phone line with us. Thanks for joining us and good evening, Sunny. I'm going to keep this really short and quick. I know it's a Friday evening, but what are the specific benefits for global automakers like Tesla under this new EV policy?
Yeah, good evening everyone, and thanks for having me on the show. So I think definitely this policy will at least open the gate for global players like Tesla and BYD in the Indian market. But if you go through the policy fine print, it seems that the market will initially be restricted to a very high-end car, premium car with a price segment about 35 to 40 lakh rupees. And one thing we need to keep in mind is that there may be a restriction in terms of number of cars that can be imported by each and every player in a still trading mode. So the earlier policy has restricted that number to 8,000 on an annual basis. And that's a very minuscule number, and that too in a very premium car segment. And at the same time, if they are supposed to set up a manufacturing base, I feel it will take at least 15 to 24 months for any car company for a land acquisition and then post that start a manufacturing plant. So I think definitely I don't think so there is any worry in short to medium term for players like Mahindra and Tata or any other legacy player. But yes, in a long term, in case all these players are allowed to launch lower end model, the price point that is 15 to 25 lakh price point, then definitely to some extent EV portfolio of these legacy companies can be affected.
So coming to the domestic, car makers, India's new EV policy now we know is aiming to stimulate growth in the EV sector. But it understandably also presents various challenges for domestic automakers, with a special import duty rate and high minimum investment. So how do you see the automakers back home tackling this? We know that they seem unfazed when they speak to us, but give us a sense of what that strategy might look like.
So one of the strategy might be that they need to accelerate their R&D and need to ensure that the price of the existing products are lowered so that at least they can win on price point. So that's the one, because India is a very price sensitive market, at least for a mass volume or mid premium segment, there the price sensitivity is very high. So maybe more R&D and they may try to reduce their prices by sacrificing margin initially. And second important aspect, as an Indian car maker, the psychology is always that whether the existing car company have an service network, right? So India is a very vast country and service network do matter when somebody purchases the car. So I think that is something which will be an advantage for a legacy car maker. But let's see, I mean, ultimately the low price point car or at least the same price point car with a better quality is something which Indian car makers need to work on.
Sunny Agrawal, thank you so much for putting that in perspective. It's our top focus of the day, the EV policy likely to be tweaked in India. Let's move on. The Reserve Bank of India recently held its MPC, that's the Monetary Policy Committee meeting. And this committee members actually highlighted concerns about India's economic growth and the easing inflation trajectory, suggesting room for the central bank to actually cut rates. Now, RBI Deputy Governor M. Rajeshwar Rao stated that since December 2024's policy, there has been a shift in the domestic growth inflation balance. While inflation had sequentially softened, growth outcomes had weakened. So he also mentioned that uncertainties from the global financial markets and trade policies further clouded the outlook for domestic growth and inflation. He also noted that given the macroeconomic outlook with inflation expected to align with the target and recognizing that monetary policy is forward-looking, a lower policy rate seemed more appropriate at the current moment. And another story that we have been tracking very closely, just a day after Donald Trump once again hurled the fresh allegation of the $21 million fund earmarked for alleged voter turnout in India, but this time even alleging it was to replace the leadership in India. The MEA today expressed deep concern over these allegations of foreign interference in domestic politics, adding that relevant agencies were looking into the matter. Let's listen in.
$21 million for voter turnout in India. What do we need to spend $21 million for voter turnout in India? Wow, $21 million. I guess